Hey, you. Yeah, you. You're probably smarter than the guy that runs one of the biggest banks in the world, Jamie Dimon. Trust me, I think you're smarter, and if you're not, by the end of this video, you will be. Check it out. Hey everybody, it's Mark Yegge, Wealth Architect here, and I was listening to this guy, Jamie Dimon, run off the mouth when he was at Davos last week, and it drives me crazy that these people get put on television, because this guy hasn't even done like an hour of research, and you could tell when he talks. And, you know, he might be a great banker and he can write mortgages and, you know, do commercial real estate and all those things. But when it comes to talking about another financial asset like Bitcoin, which, by the way, is a competitor of his, and he has no interest in embracing it, except he owns Morgan Stanley, and Morgan Stanley's got customers that are going to want to buy some of these ETFs. But this guy is trying to badmouth Bitcoin. And over time, I don't know if he's going to be right. I'm pretty sure he's not. But to sound like such an idiot and get on TV and say these stupid things, educate yourself a little bit. Check out the first thing that he says, and I'm going to give you some commentary along the way. Listen to this.
And then there's one which does nothing. I call it the pet rock, the Bitcoin or something like that.
All right, so he's already calling Bitcoin a pet rock. Like, first of all, dude, you can't even touch it. A pet rock, at least you could touch it and put it on your desk. Not that that means anything, but it has nothing to do with being a pet rock. It's just a stupid thing to say. And he's trying to find some kind of analogy that it's useless, worthless. And if it were worthless, it wouldn't have a value in dollar terms of $40,000 a coin. Like, there wouldn't be all these people that are buying it and have been buying and selling it for 15 years, trillions of dollars of transactions back and forth over the last 15 years. The guy sounds so stupid calling it a pet rock, but okay.
The Bitcoin or something like that. And so on the Bitcoin, you know, there's, first of all, and I'm not trying to make a joke here. There are use cases. AML, fraud, anti-money laundering, tax avoidance, sex trafficking. Those are real use cases, and you see it being used for hundreds, maybe 50, $100 billion a year for that. That is the end use case. Everything else is people train among themselves.
Okay, so he's trying to make a case here, not very good. He calls it anti-money laundering. It's not AML, it's money laundering. Dude, like, get your terminology right. This is your terminology, by the way. First he says it's AML, and then it's anti-money laundering. That's the same thing. You say it twice. It sounds stupid. It's money laundering, not anti-money laundering. They put in rules to prevent people from money laundering. That's called AML. Anyway, just sounds stupid. So he goes, oh, it's you know, it's being used for drug trafficking and sex trafficking and money laundering and all these illegal things. Like the dollar isn't used for any of that. Like the dollar is used way more than that. The euro is used way more than that. Every other currency in the world is used for those kinds of things. That's what currencies do. He sounds so stupid saying that, well, Bitcoin is bad because it's used for all these nefarious things. Yeah, he's in the business of poo-pooing Bitcoin, so of course he's going to say it. He just sounds so stupid when he does. Poor guy.
Gold really didn't do anything either.
Yeah, but gold's limited in supply.
So is Bitcoin.
And it's been used. So you think so, huh?
Okay, let's stop right there. Gold's limited in supply. He sounds stupid right there. If gold, okay, it is limited. It's not like unlimited like currency is. Unlimited, it just means you make as much as you want, which is what the US does and what the euro does and China does and all the countries that have fiat currency, they make as much as they want. So related to that, yeah, okay, it's got some scarcity. But Bitcoin has the ultimate scarcity. There's only going to be 21 million Bitcoin ever made. The last one will be made in 2140. Joe Kernan will say here in 2150. Doesn't matter what it is. But this guy sounds like there's limited supply. If there were complete scarcity, there wouldn't be gold miners, right? There's a huge industry of gold mining. Why? Because they go into a mountain, they extract gold, and they make money on it, which means it's not infinite, right? But it's not completely scarce. You could always find and pull more gold out of the earth. They're pulling about 2% of the gold supply out of the earth every single year, 2 to 3%. And so it's not limited. It's, you know, and the higher gold goes, by the way, the more incentive there will be to go deeper into the mountain and get more gold. It's not scarce, right? And so gold is, they'll always be able to make a little bit more. He sounds stupid saying that. He shouldn't even be talking about gold. He's not a gold guy. He doesn't even own it. He says it later on in the interview.
I do.
I think there's a good chance that when Bitcoin, when we get to that 20 million Bitcoins,
they go to 42.
No, that Satoshi's going to come on there, laugh hysterically, go quiet, all Bitcoin's going to be erased.
I think, man.
How the hell do you know it's going to stop at 21? I've never met one person who told me they know for a fact they take that as...
Mathematically, it can't happen because by the last one will be mined in 2150, and it gets harder and harder every time there's another halving. But Jamie, looking back over,
you guys do what you want, I'll do what I want.
As for gold, you can the 6 characteristics that make gold valuable for 4,000 years. They're all present in Bitcoin.
Okay, so he's talking about Satoshi Nakamoto, not Satoshi, and he's saying that Satoshi is going to come out of the blue. Well, people don't even know what happened to him. He disappeared in 2011. That's the guy that wrote the white paper, the original white paper about Bitcoin, talking about all the great things about it. He wrote the original algorithms. He was working on it for a long time with a guy named Hal Finney and some other people, and then all of a sudden he disappeared. And he may come out of the blue, but he's not going to be able to wipe it away because now there's thousands and thousands and thousands of nodes that all have to agree on all the transactions that happen in the ledger to be able to verify Bitcoin. And so you have to get the majority of thousands and thousands of transactions to agree to be able to change anything about Bitcoin, and they're not going to do it because it's not centralized. There's no one person like Jamie Dimon. He's the one person that runs that company. The U.S., the Fed, Jerome Powell, runs the fiat currency system. President Biden or whoever the president is runs the United States. There's nothing like that for Bitcoin. It's a conglomeration of computers and an algorithm that is always cross-verified by all the other nodes on the system. So there won't be an ability for somebody else to come in and change the algorithm and run everybody's thing down to zero. If there is some backdoor, then all these thousands and thousands for the last 15 years of computer programmers that have looked through the code can't find it. And it's open source code. So there's nothing hidden on the code. I can run, and I do run, a node at my house that has all the code right on it. There's no hidden code. It's right there. It's like on a piece of paper. And so he sounds stupid, and he doesn't even understand that this can't happen. And so why are we asking him like he's the expert? So Joe Kernan is trying to make a case. He's a little cold, so he's not able to talk as quickly as he usually does. But he's trying to make a case that, look, gold and Bitcoin are really similar. They're a lot more similar than fiat and gold, right? Because fiat, there's an unlimited supply. As long as we're running deficits, we just print more money and it becomes worth less and less the more fiat currency that you hold. And so it's not a very good medium to store your wealth in. So I'm going to put this chart up in front of you. It's called The Traits of Money, and it compares Bitcoin, gold, and fiat. And it's a really good chart. So I'm not going to spend a huge amount of time on it, but I want to educate you this. You can take this chart and talk about it with your friends, and you can understand Bitcoin a little bit just by going through this chart. So first of all, Bitcoin, is it verifiable? Yes, you can see it on a ledger. Gold, is it verifiable? Sure, here's my gold. Or here's my account statement that shows the gold in it. That's a little bit more sketchy. That's why it's moderate. Fiat, how much money do I have? I go to my bank account. It shows it in my bank account. Does the bank let me pull it out when I want? I don't know. Lately, when I go to the bank and I'm like, I want $10,000, they're like, oh, you got to make an appointment and we don't have that money. And what are you using it for? So that's why they put moderate here on that. Okay, fungible. Is it easy to spend? Well, Bitcoin, I went to El Salvador a couple years ago and I bought a beer and a pupusa, which was dinner. And I used my QR code on my thing and it took less time than a credit card actually. So yes, it was very fungible. Gold, if somebody's willing to take gold, I can spend it. If somebody's willing to take fiat, I can spend it. Portable, sure. Bitcoin's portable. You can put it on your phone or put it in your head and you can carry it across a border. Can't do that with gold, right? Try taking $1 million worth of gold across a border. Try taking $20,000 worth of gold. First of all, it's really heavy. And second of all, they're not going to let you do it. And they'll just take it from you. What are you going to do? They got the gun. And then fiat, if you try to take $10,000 across a border, you're not allowed to. So it's not that portable. Now you can wire it as long as it's not a weekend and before 5 o'clock in the afternoon on Eastern time. It's portable, sure. Okay, so gold is less portable. All right, durable. Is it durable? Well, Bitcoin, we don't know. That's probably why they put moderate. But so far, for 15 years, it's been incredibly durable. And it's stood up, and it's the best performing asset of all time. So it's durable. Gold, yeah, gold doesn't go away. You can remelt it and make it back into gold out of jewelry and out of teeth and all that kind of stuff. Fiat, is it durable? I don't know. If you buried fiat in your mattress 50 years ago, you've lost 80% of the value or something like that. It's a little bit more actually, of the value of it. Just look at the price of a house 50 years ago versus the price of a house now. It's gone from 25,000 to 433,000 or something like that. So it's not very durable. Divisible. Bitcoin is divisible. A lot of people think you have to buy one Bitcoin. And I can't afford one Bitcoin. It's $40,000 US. Well, you can divide it into something called Satoshis, which is 1/100,000th of a Bitcoin. So it's divisible. You can divide it all the way down to less than a penny. Is gold divisible? I don't know. It's pretty hard to shave off, 8 cents of gold or $8 worth of gold to be accurate about it. So it's not really divisible. Is the dollar divisible? Yeah, pretty. I think this is actually where they got it wrong. It's divisible. It's highly divisible. It's not moderate. You cut dollars down into pennies, and pennies aren't worth that much anymore. So yeah, dollar is divisible. Is it scarce? Well, it's the ultimate scarce asset when you're talking about Bitcoin. They're only going to make 21 million. They've already made just over 19 million. They're mined every 10 minutes. So every 10 minutes, 6.125 Bitcoin are made, or 6.25 actually. And coming up in May, there's something called a halving, which H-A-L-V-I-N-G, halving, which Joe Kernan just mentioned. That means they're going to be cutting the amount of Bitcoin that are made every 10 minutes down to 3.125 Bitcoin. So it's getting more scarce, right? So Bitcoin, they're not going to make any more of it. By the way, they think they've lost probably 4 to 5 million Bitcoin. So there's really not going to be 21 million. They're probably only going to be about 15, 16 million in existence by the time Bitcoin is all printed out. So right now there's about 14, 15 million in existence, let's say. So yes, it's the ultimate scarcity asset. Gold, like I said before, you can make more gold as long as the price is enough to justify going into a mountain, firing up all that equipment and extracting gold. Sure, it's not that scarce. It's got more scarcity than the next one, which is fiat, which is just basically, it's not even printing money anymore. They don't even print money. I don't use cash at all most of the time. They just go to the bank and put a bunch of zeros in the bank, and then they go loan it out. That's how they make money in the economy. And so it's the ultimate non-scarce asset. Like you guarantee that you're going to lose value if you hold it in fiat currency. Okay, established history. Well, compared to gold, it got very little history, but it's 15 years old and it's never been breached. And so Bitcoin is the ultimate, scarce asset that's never been breached, but it doesn't have 4,000 years of history like gold does, okay? And then the fiat currency, we know that the history of fiat currency is horrible, and the dollar is relatively new. It's only, a couple hundred years old, and this dollar that we're using now is really, it's not backed by gold since 1971, so it's only about 52 years old. So gold's not that, that historical either. All right, sorry, dollar's not that historical. Censorship resistant. Well, yeah. First of all, it's on a public ledger. Second of all, you can't prevent me from spending my Bitcoin. As long as I have a phone with an app that has my Bitcoin on it, I can spend it. So, it doesn't matter if I go against the government. The government can't shut down my Bitcoin wallet, right? They might be able to throw me in jail and do all those other things, but as far as doing what they did to the truckers and taking their Bitcoin or taking their money, they can't do that. Gold, censorship resistant, yeah, they can come and take it. They've already done it. In 1933, they took everybody's gold. They said, you have to turn it in, otherwise you're a felon, you're a criminal. So we've already taken people's gold, and we didn't make it legal till 1974, I think, people could own gold again. And so fiat money, is it censorship resistant? I don't know. I get asked a lot of questions when I go into the bank now. What are you spending the money for? Why do you need the money? Where'd you get the money? All these kinds of things. And if they want to say, well, this money was established from drug transactions, I can't get my money. That's a big risk. All right, unforgeable costliness. Well, you can't forge Bitcoin. There's only a certain number of Bitcoin. It's all on a public ledger. You can't forge gold. You can't create it out of nothing. There's none of that. And then fiat, yeah, you can. We know that there's people that print money, and the government's the biggest counterfeiter. So it's got low, unforgeable costliness. Openly programmable, well, this is a little weird. It was openly programmable, but now it's very hard to reprogram or deprogram. Gold, it's not really programmable at all, and the dollar, I disagree with this one. It's not low because you just go add money to the banks and they programmatically create money. And then is it decentralized? Bitcoin is decentralized. There's no one person. It's completely decentralized. It's the ultimate decentralized. There's no group, there's no person. It's the people's money, literally. Gold has been, accepted by a lot of central banks. There's actually cases right now where they're saying China's hoarding gold, Russia's hoarding gold, the US is hoarding gold, they're saying, if we even have it. We used to have it in Fort Knox. And there's always been political pulls on gold over the history of time. In fiat, is it decentralized? Oh my God, it is totally centralized. It's run by some guy named Jerome Powell, who's not even a money guy, he's a lawyer. Not that there's anything wrong with lawyers, but they shouldn't be running the money. In fact, there shouldn't even be a Fed running the money because it distorts capitalism. So there's all kinds of problems, but this chart right here does a pretty good job of laying out the characteristics of money in Bitcoin, gold, and fiat. So, use this, but don't listen to a guy named Jamie Dimon who hates Bitcoin, who knows it's a threat to his business, and the sooner that Bitcoin comes in and starts to take over his business, because it will, it's going to take a while, the sooner he starts to lose money. And he's got a few good years left. He doesn't want to start losing money yet. He wants to be one of the richest men in the world, and he's continuing to do that. So be careful who you listen to and educate yourself about this. I always say, if you don't learn about Bitcoin now, you're going to learn about it later, because we're all going to be using it at some point. So you might as well spend 100 hours to learn about it now, and you'll be like me. You'll be like, yeah, this is the thing. This is going to be the thing that works. Not the other cryptocurrencies, by the way. There's Bitcoin and there's all the other ones. All the other ones don't have the characteristics. All the other ones are centralized. They're run by a group of people or a dude. And there's deprogramming of the money. So, you got to be really careful what you do. But anyway, I figured I'd make a video just so you could get educated about this guy, Jamie Dimon, who drives me crazy when he talks about Bitcoin. See you on the next video. Take care.